Yesterday we did expressions. Expressions don't have an equal sign. Equations have an equal sign. We are going to be solving for variable. So your answer here is going to be like x equals 2 or x equals 12, b equals 22. And since we have variables on both sides, we're going to use what you did yesterday. Working with those, you have 2 a's and 3 a's, so that makes 5 a's. You're going to be doing that, but in the process of solving an equation. So, if you have, I'm going to start with pictures. 7. If you have 7 x's, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and those are all x. And you have 1 negative that looks like that. And on the other side, this equals 2 x's and 5 positives. Those are all plus, plus. Positive, 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 positive. This is a modeling of an algebraic equation. So how many x's are on the left side? 7. Are they positive x's or negative x's? Positive. They don't have a negative sign, so they're positive. So we've got 7x. What else is on the left side? 1 negative, so negative 1 equals, how many x's are on the right side? 2 x's. And what else? 5 what's? Positive, so positive 5. So this is what we're solving today. Now, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So since I have variables on both sides, if I were to take, and they're currently equal, they're balanced. So if I take 2 x's off of this side, what do I need to do to this side? Take 2 x's off. So now what do I have on the left side? How many x's? 5 x's, and the right side has how many x's? 0. So now I have a two-step equation. I've got 5x minus 1 equals 5. That's what we're doing. All right. So the first thing you're going to have to do, you have to make a decision, and I want you to understand up front, this decision does not affect your answer. You just have to decide. So step 1, decide which side gets the variables, variables and which side gets numbers. So, your goal here, you want to try to make it easy on yourself. So if one side has 27 x's and the other side has 1 x, your choice is you could take 1 x from each side or you could take 27 x's from each side. You get to decide which is going to be easier. It won't affect your answer either way. So I could either take 2 x's from both sides or 7 x's from both sides. Which way do you think will be easier? So taking 2 x's from both sides. Yes? Anybody disagree? So if I'm going to take the 2 x's off this side, that means my variables are going to stay on this side. So this side's going to keep my variables, and this side is going to keep my numbers. So anything that's not variables on the left side, I'm going to undo it. I'm going to cancel it out. And anything that's not numbers on the right side, I need to cancel it out. Okay? Next, I'm going to rewrite it so I have room. That whole thing about you really, really need to write your steps, that's going to come back today. So step 2, you're going to cancel out let's say variables first. That seems to be the issue today. People start moving numbers around and then things get messy. Cancel out your variable first. So if I'm canceling out the 2x, what can I do to a 2x that will cancel it out? Subtract it. I'm going to take away 2 x's from both sides. Because if I do it to both sides, it stays balanced. So 7 x's minus 2 x's equals 5 x's. So the left side is going to be 5x minus 1 from up here. And 2 x's minus 2 x's is 0. So I'm just going to draw a line through it to signify that it's canceled. It does no longer exist. But I still have this positive 5. Then we're going to cancel out numbers. Step 3, cancel out your numbers next. This is now a 2-step equation. We solve this like we solve any 2-step equation. Once your variables are all on one side, it's just 7th grade math again. That was the 8th grade math portion. Now it's 7th grade. So what is the opposite of a negative 1? Positive 1. So I'm going to positive 1 both sides. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0, so cancel. And 5 plus 1 is 6. So now I have 5x equals 6. Now I have a 1-step equation, which is 6th grade. So we basically went 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade. What's the opposite of multiplying by 5? So we're going to divide both sides by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. So that's 1x, but we don't write 1x. We can just write x. And 6 over 5, honestly, you probably either want to leave it as 6 over 5 or make it 1.2. You don't see a lot of mixed numbers in algebra. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's not common. I would leave my answer as 6 over 5. Or possibly 1.2. I can't roll it out. So then your last step, step 4. Undo coefficients, because that's all you should be left with. Undo coefficients. So, ideally, if everything works out like this. Now, at the beginning, I told you that step 1 doesn't affect your answer at all. We're going to see that in practice. We're going to do one more before I set you free into the world of infinite step equations. Alright, so my next equation is negative 4p minus 7 equals 5p plus 11. Negative 4p minus 7 equals 5p plus 11. And I'm going to split my paper in half. And whatever I do on the left side, I'm going to do the opposite on the right side. Which side do you think you should keep variables on? Bless you. Left or right? Okay. So on the left side, I'm going to do what you tell me to do. We're going to put variables on the right and numbers on the left. And on the right side, I'm going to do the opposite of what you want to do. I'm going to put numbers on the right, variables on the left. All right, so first thing, I need to, if I'm keeping the variables on this side, I need to cancel out that negative 4p. What do you do to cancel a negative 4p? Add what? 4p. So I'm going to add 4p to both sides. Now when you're adding that 4p, you're adding 4p to 5p. You're not adding 4p to 11. Variables go with variables. So this cancels. I'm left with negative 7. 5p's plus 4p's is how many p's? So I've got 9p's plus 11. Next, I need to cancel out that number. What do I do to a positive 11 to zero it out? Do what? Subtract what? So I'm going to minus 11 from both sides. What's negative 7 and a negative 11? Negative 18. Positive 11 and negative 11 is how much? 0, so cancel. And I'm left with 9p. What's the opposite of multiplying by 9? Divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9. What's negative 18 divided by 9? Negative 2. And what's 9 divided by 9? So this is 1p or just p. Now on the right side, I'm going to do the opposite of what you did. So y'all added 4p to both sides. Well, I'm going to take away 5p from both sides. So that cancels for me. And a negative 4p and a negative 5p is negative 9p minus 7 equals 11. And then y'all took away 11 from both sides, but I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So I'm going to plus 7 over here and plus 7 over there. That cancels. 11 plus 7 is 18. And I'm left with negative 9p over here. And then the opposite of multiplying by negative 9 is dividing by negative 9. So I got p equals negative 2. So even though I did the opposite of what you did, we end up with the same answer. As long as you follow the algebra rules, doing to one side that you do to the other, it doesn't matter which side your variable ends up on. It still works. And the beauty of algebra, you can take this number, plug it into your equation, and see if it makes sense. So if you've got negative 2, what's negative 4 times negative 2? Okay, what's 8 minus 7? Okay, so I'm getting 1 on this side. What's 5 times negative 2? Negative what? Negative 10. What's negative 10 plus 11? 1. Does 1 equal 1? So you know you did it right. If you get 5 equals 2, then it's wrong. Your answer's wrong. Okay? That's it.